Hey guys, welcome to the next tutorial of ethical hacking and penetration testing via Kali Linux. So in the previous tutorial, we took a look at different things as to how we can actually go ahead and carry out different types of attacks. So in this tutorial, we'll be taking a look at the different types of or different levels of attacks, and the levels of attacks can be at network level, operating system level, application level, data flood, and protocol feature attacks. So routers, IP switches, firewalls, these attempts to exhaust hardware resources using multiple duplicate packets or software bug are called as different levels of attacks. The equipment vendor OSs, end user equipment. In this part, the attacker, he takes advantage of the way operating and implements their own protocols. Then we have finger bombing. It's an attack a service or machine by using the application attack to exhaust resources. And there are different type of attacks, again known as host computer or network. It's an attack in which massive quantities of data are sent to the target with the intention of using up bandwidth and processing resources. Then we have server, client, PC, and DNS servers. Attacks in which bugs in a network protocol are utilized to take down different networks resources. And the methods of attack includes IP addresses, spoofing, and corrupting DNS server caches as well. So the tendency of DDoS attack shows infallibility that perpetrators take aim and move up the OSI model over time. The relocation of the prime target is logical since more DDoS defense systems focus their primary detection powers on lower layers. Therefore, attacks on the web application layer are increasingly popular. Furthermore, layer 7 penetration, that is the top level layer of the OSI model, it provides an outlet on a business logic layer which is considered as an abstraction extension of the previously mentioned network protocol suite. So given that the internet is built vertically by multiple protocol layers, it would be perfectly understandable if internet DDoS attacks assume vertical classification as well. While network layers DDoS attack attempts to overwhelm the victim server with bogus requests, the application layer DDoS attacks rely on legitimate ones, such as, let's say for example, the Baitulahi and Deconic in 2011. In layer 7 attacks, DDoS attacks, attacking computers have to set up a full TCP connection. This, while providing genuine IP addresses, is something you cannot dispense with. The entire action proceeding may seem legitimate in the absence of traffic spikes, but it may not also at the same time. They may virtually swindle even a vigilant DDoS mechanism, and they are stealthy, trust me. There's one of the most famous attack known as Manthina in 2011. So a layer 7 DDoS attack, in contrast to the others, may exploit vulnerabilities in application software, thus circumventing detection and aiming directly at the targeted server as it was used in Manthina 2000 in 2011. In other words, they are more sophisticated since they do not count entirely on a brute force to achieve desired ends. Perhaps the most notable difference, so-called volumetric DDoS attacks strive to bring down network infrastructures and servers by employing high bandwidth consuming flooding. That benefits from an inherent blind spot of the internet medium. On the other hand, layer 7 DDoS attacks take the victim server in the rear, first encouraging well-known applications such as Hypertext Transfer Protocol, Voice over Internet Protocol, VoIP, or DNS, such as that is a domain name system. The goal of application layer DDoS attacks usually have nothing to do with overwhelming bandwidth. Some IT experts call them low and slow for a reason. Frequently at a close range are exhausted CPU or memory resources. Hence, layer 7 DDoS leverage as well inherent flaws and limitations of applications. For example, system resources are always finite. They are never infinite. There's surprise here actually that heavy resource consumption will eventually render the server incapacitated. So protection and mitigation of common volumetric attacks is something that IT specialists are familiar with, and in contrast, layer 7 DDoS attacks often stand as a more formidable challenge. So in short, to be more clearer, it's very hard for people to go out and actually stop these kinds of DDoS attacks. They're not something that a person can already know what is happening in the background. And you may never know. For example, let's say if a person is trying to go ahead and interfere with your firewall, then you may get an alarm at your IDS that someone is trying to enter your firewall if you have a good IDS, that's intrusion detection system. But when going ahead and doing a DDoS attack, you may never know whether the person is actually going and trying to get into your computer, or is actually just normally visiting the website within multiple IP addresses or through multiple IP addresses, which you are getting a lots of traffic. You may also have noticed that, let's say for example, if you are going ahead and using your Google, and if you're on a company on your own, let's say for example you're working in a company and you are trying to visit your Google website, sometimes you are requested to go ahead and enter some specific letters or some addition or multiplication of a few easy mathematics. The reason of behind that is because the people want to know what exactly is the IP address and from where is the source coming, whether it's just a DDoS attack, because if it is a DDoS attack, then they won't DDoS attack cannot go ahead and answer the to the question of 6 plus 6 or 2 plus 2, or they cannot go ahead and write down something in specific. And at that point of time, the computer will know that okay, we are getting a DDoS attack, and that's why we cannot sustain that, and they will go ahead and straightly ban the user. But there are also ways as to how you can go ahead and avoid that. There are people who have written botnets that are so smart that they can go ahead and easily answer what exactly it is. Let's say for example, you can take a look at I'll go ahead and show you a famous app which is in the Google glasses. So here's the Google goggles, not glass actually. So you may be knowing about Google Glass, that you just have to go ahead and use your camera to go ahead and, let's say for example, if I go ahead and use my camera to take a picture of this page, so it will check that the things that are written over here are Google goggles, and it will straight away go ahead and search about Google goggles on the internet. Or if I go ahead and let's say for example okay, great. So we have a movie over here with the name of ABCD. So if I go ahead and click a picture of this specific area, only this area, only this area specifically, it will go ahead and scan the image for letters, and it will go ahead and search on the internet. So people have developed such kind of application that can actually detect letters from images, that is the ones that we get as 4 plus 4 or 2 plus 2, that is called as a robot scanning or something like that. And the bots can actually go ahead and answer these things, and people cannot actually go ahead and, again the servers cannot go ahead and identify whether it's actually a DDoS attack or just a normal user trying to access, and he's answering the question, and the computer may again be at fault. So that's the reason I was telling you that you cannot go ahead and actually protect your computers against DDoS attacks, but you can actually go ahead and try to prevent that, and that is what we would be looking at the next tutorial. So that's it for this tutorial, and just go ahead and DDoS someone else, but just be under the legal limits, guys.